What about all the shit your people say about my people? What about all the shit white people say about my fucking people? We deal with this shit all the fucking time. So just fucking deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And you're only offended because you know it's the fucking truth. You know that fucking Jewish people out here fucking us in all types of ways.
No, I'm not going there.
Or you know what? Let me. Okay.
This is not
Allegedly, not Jewish people. No. I'm fucking up. Let's say any other race than black people, not just Jewish people, run all this conglomerate shit that we're a part of. You know what I'm saying? And
well, I just think that like things are multifaceted.
Right.
You have people that may be identified as Jewish people that play in the corporate.
Jewish people.
That play in the corporate realm.
Right.
Right. But then you also have Jewish people that are byproducts of extreme racism and oppression.
And they know it's the
same. So
you're right about that.
I'll say this: anytime you seek to benefit from one's talent, and not put them in a situation, or help them achieve a situation where they control their ultimate destiny, you can be considered predatorial.
Right.
This happens. Black people do this in business because they were taught it. This is a system that was set up not by us, and it's just time for the creators to take charge and decide, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I don't give a damn what you look like. However, you're gonna do right by me. We're gonna do honest business. We're gonna be partners in this, rather than predator and prey.
Do you think?
You know what I mean?
I got a personal question for you because you're really on this like podcast shit, and I watch like little Vlad interviews here and there. Do you like Vlad?
My thing is I'm not as bothered by Vlad as many, because I don't expect at any time for the sky to be the floor.
It's like metaphysics. You expect him to play the part that he plays. It's like a play.
If we're talking about Vlad, why aren't we not talking about Tommy Hilfiger? If we're talking about Tommy Hilfiger, why aren't we talking about Polo? If we're talking about Polo, why are we talking about Nike? We can go down on several things. Now Nike, they with the culture when it's feasible. Right.
They're with the culture.
There's culture vultures all around us. You have DJs all around the world that go and buy a DJ setup, and when they mix records, they're ripping off a man from the South Bronx that created something that Sony, Yamaha, anybody that makes this equipment owes him millions of dollars. But we don't live in a world where he gets his just due. Shout out to Grandmaster Flash.
Same shit, like
right. It's what we're talking about. It's what Joe Budden is talking about. It's that thing that they do. It's what Prince said when he was just like, in what world does a non-creative person, a non-creator, watch a person create a great piece of art and feel like at any time they should own it without it being sold to them? Who the fuck are you? That's a slave owner's mentality anyway. And that's what you got to understand. These white corporations was all built on slavery. And that's what we don't talk about enough. Everybody that can hear my voice, man, Google it. Just take one of your favorite
do your Google
grandfathered corporations and Google their ties to the slave trade. And you'll see.
Go Google the bank that you put your fucking money into.
And you'll see that these entities that we empower, that we sheepishly allow politicians that we don't vet to go into the workspace and act as if they're there for the people when they work for these same entities. That's why when the government gave up free money, is the way they looked at it, they got their piece at the top first. So you know who these people work for. And all this shit is tied in together. It's tied into your business decisions. It's tied into the fact, are you going to be bought out, right? Are you going to be muffled? Are you going to stand on your creation? Are you going to stand on the fact that none of this works without us? None of this works without us.
you know,
right?
when you talk about, you know, as far as creating art and people feeling like they can own that shit, it goes back to my old thing with it's that part of capitalism that I don't understand. You know, because I feel like in that sense, that shit works backwards against the person that's creating that art.
But Dio, that the only reason why I can't agree with that strictly is there's other forms of governments around the world that it might not be called capitalism, but what's it called when you make a creation and the government owns it simply because you're a citizen of that government? What's that like? You know what I
I
mean?
mean, what's the
So
difference? There's no
That's what
difference
they call
between
so
the two.
th-
Is
there
there?
socialism,
is a
correct?
difference. The difference is that I can't stand on my morals. Look, yes, man. My motherfucking mugs might not make it to every goddamn store and they might not sell it at Walmart. But I can't feed my family making mugs, and my passion is making mugs. It's about standing for something. Because what happens is you don't have to sell to the capitalist. You don't. What happens is yeah, I might have to get it the hard way. It's the rap artist that says, yeah, I'll take the $2 million in a record deal because this is a big time label and they'll put me on songs with other superstars that are enslaved to them. Versus the rap artist that says, nah,
I'm gonna do it
I'm
myself.
gonna just do it myself and keep making $150,000 a year until I get something that I like or until something's
Until you
approached to
turn
me.
into Mac Miller
Until
and
you
Russ.
look at me like a business partner instead of a fucking asset. Instead of a number you can move around and play in your game because you gave me $2 million in immediate gratification, and now I can't get my music out because I'm sitting on the shelf. And now that I made a hit single while broke at my man's house, and because I made it at my man's house, even though my man made the beat and engineered it, you
I
own
can't
it.
put none of
You
it. Yeah,
own
I
it.
don't get nothing.
We put the shit out on the internet for free. The shit now is doing 1 million streams a day, and guess what? I'm nominated for a Grammy. Do I get anything for that? No, because guess what? After the $2 million, I'm in a 360 deal. So we're now I got a part in a movie because I ain't getting no money off this rap shit. Y'all keep shelving me. So now I'm doing this movie shit. The movie
Or
takes
you're
off.
getting it.
The
You're getting
movie
it from
takes
shows
off.
or
The
movies.
movie takes off. Now all of a sudden I'm not really getting the money I would get from the movies. The record label is getting it because they gave me that $2 million up front, and I'm in a 360 deal. I decide, you know what? I'm gonna make some clothes because I'm a fly nigga, and I get some clothes and shit to pop off, and everybody's wearing my clothes and shit. And guess what? I ain't really eating off this either because guess what? They signed me to a 360 deal. These motherfuckers got all the money. They made us work for them for 400 plus years
Hold
for
on.
free, so they have all the money, so they can throw you the bag
Keem,
up front.
Let me interject on that.
You got to stand for something.
The 360 deal isn't quite like that. Because here's the thing.
I was
what you-
generalizing.
Okay,
Here you go, about to
okay,
get
my
technical
bad.
again.
All right, I'm not gonna do it. If
The
you were
average
just-
person
as
doesn't
soon as
know.
you said
I'm just
you were
telling you. Yeah, I'm
I'm
generalizing,
not
fam.
gonna get into.
Like
I'm not
because
gonna, I'm not gonna
because the
technically
thing
say
is, it's
anything.
about predatory. It's no
Right.
different than predatory lending.
Right.
It's no different than these banks that look at these young kids that come out of poverty that don't know shit about banking and financing and loans and say, hey, yeah, we'll give you some money to help sustain you. Not really help take care of you while you're in college. Just help sustain you a little bit so you're not ass broke. Boom, give you that.
Still eating noodles.
The loan grows, nigga, in time. The loan grows. It goes from one owner of the loan to the next bank to the
Collects
next bank.
interest.
You know, it's predatory lending. It's designed for you to not be able to pay it back in a reasonable amount of time. Therefore, there's the gross and the monies.
That's why they say it's 15 years from the day that you fucking graduate.
It's
you
lack
have to
of-
pay it back.
it's
'Cause
lack
some
of
you
oversight.
Motherfuckers owe $150,000
Way
in
more than
college,
that.
and you ain't gonna fucking pay that back.
I used to be a loan officer, bro.
$10,000
No,
a year.
I used to be a
nigga.
loan officer. And the thing is, imagine if you had a
Before
choice.
interest.
Imagine if these same predatory lenders looked at young talented content creators and young artists and said, "Hey, we'll also throw you $40,000 and $50,000 coming out of high school to start a business, to start a land development property, to get your first piece of land." I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do with that would be way more humane, way more beneficial, and way more profitable for everyone. But it's about exclusion. See, the thing is, this American dream exists for those that is chosen to exist for.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of us
so
are
sometimes when
excluded from that shit.
when we're screaming
I
at
don't
the
know what the
wall,
American dream is.
sometimes my annoyance comes is that, like, yo, we know what's the problem. So it's like, let's stop dissecting something that we already know. We already took the heart out, And we tried to get when we started this operation, they said it was Operation Take the Heart Out. Now the heart's out, and we're sitting there looking at the chest cavity trying to figure out what the fuck to do next, nigga. Like, we already accomplished this. We figured out what the thing was. The thing is systemic racism and oppression. How do you combat that? First off, we need to be an informed electorate. We need to inform ourselves, vote aggressively, vote intelligently. We need to weaponize ourselves economically by stop giving our money to motherfuckers that don't give a fuck about us, aka the NFL. You know what I'm saying? AKA a lot of other Fortune 500 corporations that literally, take our dollars, make gazillions off of it, and then turn around and use those same dollars to systemically oppress us. Yeah. So at some point in time, it's nobody's fault but our own. And we just gotta wake up, grow the fuck up, man up, warm it up, and take care of this shit now so our children don't have to do it.
Stop being fucking worried about wearing designer shit for the next nigga, having a foreign car for the next nigga. Stop trying to impress motherfuckers and really go make a fucking difference in this shit. You know what I'm saying? Niggas would rather go spend fucking $50,000 in designer everything, jewelry, fucking rings, cars, all that shit, but don't have no type of business. None of that. Niggas will just sell dope for forever, just to be able to floss and wear dope clothes and have no type of business or anything. You know what I'm saying? That shit irritates the fuck out of me.
Well, the thing is, that's a general. To me, that's general. That's the American way. Americans do that. People of the Western world do that. We're wasteful by nature and by culture. What we do is, we're poor people that like to drive cars, and as long as we have our fake sense of a utopia, our government uses our tax dollars to basically create mayhem in the world. And that's just something that we have to understand. If people just paid attention to what we do abroad, you'd understand how easy it is to do the things that they do to us stateside. But you have people that, just like people believe that there's no bad cops or there's just literally a few bad apples, there's people that are naive that believe that all those U.S. senators and stuff like that, they're naturally square and good people, and they want to do right by everyone. They don't understand how compromised some of these people are. Right. Now, a lot of people, not a lot of the younger generation, they understand that. That's why they in the streets. But like I keep telling people, you're not going to know that no more, because they realize, like, oh, these motherfuckers ain't going in. Let's go ahead and, like, cut it off visually. Let's cut it off. And for a while, I tell people all the time, man, the world didn't really understand how American Negroes was being treated in America, because the national media did a good job of concealing it. Until one day, one bloody Sunday, the right media was there, and they watched women and children get their heads beat in and dogs sicked on them for simply asking for rights that they were given. That had an awakening to the world, and it put pressure on national leaders. We do regime changes all the time where America goes in and decides this person is bad for the people. Right. Right? So where's our regime change? And how do we get one?
So,
you know what I mean? How do we get one? I tell people like this: if
it's that trick play,
if the Democrats getting office and our changes and demands are not met, then look, man, it's time to start our own party. It's time to start our own party, man. And I hope people become serious and unified in that regard. I hope that we don't have different entities of leadership think that the only way this can happen is if it's under their guise or under their control or their identity. I hope that our leaders can become selfless enough to come together and put all their resources together so that we can form our own independent party, and then we can really start swaying elections like we already do, but this time in our favor by empowering men and women that we seek.
Right.
In our own party.
Right.
Because one thing I'll say about black people, you can have an all-black party, and it doesn't mean that the candidate is going to be a black person.
Right.
Because we've shown more than any American group or race or ethnic group
race,
that we're literally
inclusive as
the most inclusive people that the earth has ever seen.
Yeah.
And so I'm challenging others that love our culture and claim to be friends of ours to get on our level,
Right.
to fight for inclusion, to make sure that you're not participating in exclusion. And that's just something that, like, you know, there's no two ways about it. There's no way to sugarcoat that shit. There's no way to make it sound sweet or nice. It just is what it is. Too many so-called good people sit on the sideline and pretend that bad things don't happen to good people every day, and those things couldn't be changed if good people stood up for them.
Right.
Sometimes I get exhausted talking about the shit
It's
just because of that.
So
It's retarded, but I mean,
Man.
excuse my French. It's stupid, but you know.
did you hear? Shout out to Bobby Shmurda. Did you hear about Shmurda?
Yeah, I heard about Smurder, man. And I think that he's built for it. You got certain people that, because of where we come from, shout out to Brooklyn. I think that he, you know, we already know what he did. He stayed 10 toes down. He held his mans down so they couldn't give him extra time. He is gonna come home, but this is Bobby Shmurda probably expected this. I'm sure his attorneys expected this. So I don't think that he's disappointed in any way, because this is what they do to those that stand 10 toes down.
So
If you're not gonna snitch and turn government informant, you're not getting out early on parole.
if you don't know what we're talking about, Bobby Shmurda was denied parole today, and will not be released.
So he ain't coming home.
He won't be released from prison till
This year.
December 21st or 31st of 2021. Man, back to what we were talking about fucking just companies just getting over on young black men and shit who don't know no better. What was it? Elektra Records? Is that who he was signed to? So, if you remember his audition at Elektra Records, this nigga had to get on the table and shuck and jive in front of all these fucking board members.
You think he had to get on the table?
Didn't have to, but it pretty much was put.
How
on
do you
the,
think
was-
auditions? How do you
pretty
think
much was,
auditions work?
Pretty much was put on the spot. I don't know if a lot of niggas have to do that. Is what I'm saying.
I'm saying there's stories of a lot of people doing it.
But hold on though, you're going off on some other shit. So for a company like that, I mean, you're expected to do it. Just turn your back on your fucking artist. When he comes home, he has to get another deal. Pretty much lost that deal when he went to prison. And you know what? Corporate fucking record labels are gonna do that shit.
I'm just asking this though, just to play devil's advocate real quick. Who keeps their job while in prison?
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is like, you turned your whole back on him. He still owes you albums, so you didn't really have to drop this nigga. You could have waited 7, still get your albums out of him, get paid, him do shows, shit like that.
So
I'm not saying that people are going to do that.
No, but I want you to break down what does that look like. When let's say you are the record label, I'm the artist. I'm going down to do 7 because of street shit that I was doing, and I could have been out in 5, but I said no. My man's, no, and I think he got 10. My man's
ain't gonna get
15 or 20.
I'm gonna take
so
7.
I'm gonna take 10. So you're telling them that even though I could be out in 5, hold up though, add another 5 on that, right? And although I respect what Bobby did, because he deserved some of that and he knows that,
right?
So he held it down. He did what he's supposed to do. The problem is when cats is out there wilding and they don't take responsibility for it, right?
Duke.
So he holds it down for the time being. He tries to get out early, like anybody doing that type of would,
right?
Right. So then, boom, they shit on him because this is one of their last chances to shit on him. So no, you're not getting out early, little black boy.
They use the same, you know what?
That sticks to
the
some
11
kind of code.
infractions that he got in prison or shit that motherfuckers
that's
get
neither
in
here
prison
and there.
all the fucking
But I'm
time
gonna tell you right now,
and get out on parole.
But I don't care because the thing is, there's a lot of motherfuckers that don't.
Right.
So we talking facts over here. Your ass is in prison. You are a slave. The 13th Amendment. Right? So at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? And I know where Bobby's from. I know Bobby's built for that. So Bobby's coming home. He's coming home to a deal, and he's going to be a millionaire. But at the same time, this is a hurdle that he has to get over. And I guarantee you he didn't expect to go on that parole full of white people from middle class America to say, yes, you, even though you didn't do for us, yes, you, even because he was the one that had something to lose. So they look at him like, we hate you the most because you actually held it down when he could have been out getting money and shining and just putting money on niggas' books, doing some cowardly shit. But no, I was out there wilding with you niggas. I was in the streets with you niggas. So we got this Fed case together. We're going to take this case together. You know what I'm saying? We're going to fight it together. And I'm not going to let them make no back end sweet deals to give me a favor because of these rich motherfuckers invested money in me. Now, what you're saying is that they should have held me down if I'm Bobby, if I'm the artist in this situation. I'm asking you, what does that look like? Because Bobby obviously had good representation in terms of a lawyer. I don't know who paid for that. When I see pictures of him, he looks healthy. Now that could be because he's a nigga from the mud and he knows how to survive in jail. Or that could be because he got money on his books and he's eating well and he looks good. All I'm saying is I don't really know how a square label in a corporate American world that's not designed for street shit, even though they pillage street shit and make money off street shit. Right. I don't know how, because if he was signed to like Rock Nation, unfortunately, even though this is a double standard, if he was signed to Cash Money, Young Money, unfortunately, even though it's a double standard or QC, we would expect those niggas to hold him down in different ways. We'd be like, yo, bro, he shouldn't want for nothing. Y'all got to keep saying his name. Y'all got to put his music out, even though the quality is going to fucking suck. Y'all and y'all can't get him to actually get no dividends and doing shows and nothing like that. Y'all still should do the... We would expect that because they from the culture. Mm-hmm. But Bobby was signed to technically a white label. I don't give a fuck what they call the title.
I'm not saying. The only thing black about it was fucking L.A. Reid being the A&R.
Whatever. He got a job there.
Right. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying he owns shit. He didn't own shit.
Right, I'm just saying, me and this nigga worked at Airbnb. We was far from owners, my guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, what were we talking about? We're talking about Bobby was signed to a white label. Right? Exactly. Now look at the shit that, and I'm not being biased. I'm not being biased. But look at the track record of Hove. Like, you look at the shit that Rock Nation is doing. I guarantee you, if Bobby had caught that bullshit and fucking with the Rock Nation thing, he might be in a little better spot. Well, but we don't know his conditions. Right. He might be good. Like, they might be holding him down. I was just asking because when you're in prison for doing things that you had to pretty much cop out to, and there's hard evidence that you was involved in real street things, I can say as the square business person, like, yo, it's like Puff told Big, nigga, my business is about the streets, but it ain't in the streets. Mm-hmm. So I could tell you, like, yo, I just made you a pathway to be a millionaire. The shit that you was doing in the streets is because you say you were hungry and wanted money.
I know you motherfuckers better hold me down
now,
if I go down or something.
Hold on. Now, I can argue, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I got nothing but love for the kid Bobby. I can argue who was faulty in what in the relationship more. I put you in a situation. I take a chance on you because it's always a gamble, and I come get you out of Brooklyn and give you a deal when there's a million fucking kids in Brooklyn I could have gave a deal to.
But did he do all that shit before or after the deal? Because he might have had all them.
No, listen to me. A lot of that shit was before. But allegedly, some of the shit was around the time and during. It depend on what how you pinpoint when he got signed, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Now, money don't always come fast, and it took him probably a minute to cook up a little song that caught on nigga, and then it got hot, and then now the show's money is going up because the recognition is going. You know how this thing works. So it might have been slow in the beginning, and then he might have been. I'm not saying allegedly he could have been doing some things. Street niggas do street things. Right. Real ones do. Right. But
even when they got the bag.
But what I'm saying is this too, though. I can argue this, nigga, in business. Hey, Jay, let's, I want to book you for a talent. I see something in you. I think we can eat here. I give you an opportunity. I lay out the contract to you. We're going through this shit right now. You look at the contract. After you and your team look at it, the contract goes back and forth a couple times. We agree on the contract. The contract is signed. Now, in full disclosure, bro, I could look at you sideways when you be like, yo, you didn't tell me that, nigga, you had possibly, that there's a possibility that you might be in connection with 10, 12 murders? And I'm just throwing shit at the wall. Like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't tell me that you had bailed out on a federal dope case and your lawyer's just been pushing this shit down the Kel, just kicking the pail down the road nigga, for the last couple years, but you knew when you signed this deal with me that nigga that was something that was coming up, because nigga, you know what you did.
Yeah, you know what
So
pending
I
court
can't
cases you
even,
might
if
have.
I'm just being fair, and we talking business, and you gotta understand what we gotta understand as a culture. To them, we come a dime a dozen. They don't even know which one of us are really talented or not. That's why every nigga can listen on the radio and be like, "How this nigga got a deal? This nigga sucks," right? Because they don't even know. It was a time when hip hop knew that they didn't know, and it mattered. So they would go hire hood niggas. That's how a nigga, like, they would hire somebody from the culture. That's how a Puff and them and an Irv Gotti and them could be entities to these labels, because they needed them. They needed some street niggas to make sure that their artists didn't get robbed when they went to the city and traveled and things like that. They needed that. And the labels knew that. This is just not documented heavily. That's how, if you go back in the 90s, 80s, there's a lot of street niggas that got A&R deals, nigga, hip hop labels. And you'd be like, how the fuck would they take this gangster ass street nigga and make him an A&R at Def Jam and Universal and all this other shit? Because they needed you, because hip hop was of the streets. Now they got Justin Bieber's in the game. They can hip hop him up. And our kids have been programmed to be okay with that. So they don't need the street element no more. They don't need that shit. Only if it's marketable and they can make money off of it. If not, they'll have your ass in jail. So when I see motherfuckers be like, "Oh, the label did them dirty," you talking about those rich white people
who did exactly what the fuck they're always going to do?
What are you talking about?
Right.
We got to be smarter than that. These kids that are getting these $2 and $3 and $5 million deals off the internet and buying hella jewelry, and they're getting all the drug supply, and these people are getting you scripts from doctors and shit. Yeah, because they know you're gonna kill yourself, and you're gonna be a meme, a famous one, and they're gonna take your music and make money off of it for three generations, and they ain't even got to worry about you trying to buy your masters back. They ain't got to worry about you airing them out on Twitter like Kanye is doing these motherfuckers right now.
Shout out to Ye.
Shout out to Yeezy, because they know, like, oh nigga, he gone. And what's more lucrative to a record label than a dead rapper?
Ye coming after everybody, your masters, nigga.
So it's just one of those things, dog, that we got to pay attention to. Like, we have to stop building things up and not sustaining them. You know what I mean? We have to do that. And we have to stop leaning on each other so hard, bro. I hear people all the time, "Oh, support black business." Now, we're on the verge of doing something very exclusive with a black business, with a black DSP. We'll announce that later. We could have went somewhere else. We could have pushed our shit to other DSPs. This thing took off a little faster than we thought, and we caught the ear of somebody that's making moves. Now,
but you heard that? Did you hear what he said though? Black owned,
right? Like, fully black owned and operated.
We're not just preaching this shit. That was
something that was important to us. Now, my only point in that is, if we're not gonna, when we build something, we could build it in the spirit of black Americans, of Africans in America, right? We could build it in the spirit of our struggle and our culture and our ancestry. But what we have to understand is the monetizing power of our culture. So it's not necessarily for us. So if you open a spot, don't be mad that every time you look up, it's not full of black people spending their money with you. Don't look at the spot down the street and every time a black person walks in there, judge them and say, "Oh, they ain't supporting black business." Make a business that's sustainable. Make a business that is good and honest and yields great product, and sell it to everybody.
And black people, we just got to get better at running our businesses anyway, man. You know.
It depends on where you at, and it depends on what business you run into. Because if we really looked at the numbers, I would say, to be a black business and to be sustainable, you have to be running at a higher clip, because it's more stuff thrown at you. It's less funding. Even E40, a multimillionaire, said he had to shut down his small businesses because he just couldn't get the funding as a millionaire with A1 credit. So imagine what Joe Smo is dealing with the banks. So you got to be running a great business, or else there will be no black businesses. I'm not saying all black businesses are great, but then we got to separate hood businesses from black businesses. sometimes we confuse a lot of hood businesses. Like, motherfucker, just because you are in a little spot and you selling some shit, you got to stop back and look and be like, yo, are you running good business? Because if you're running good business, things need to be ran a certain way.
Hey, you know what's crazy?
Period.
So, shout out to my nigga Tevin in Reno. He runs a fucking Threads clothing store, right?
Let us get some gear,
this,
Tevin.
This nigga employs
Just give him shout outs.
This just no, because we're talking about
Don't